Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Supertuck position, which is quite controversial in cycling. The UCI, they have decided to ban this position from the 1st of April. And yeah, that's essentially what we're going to be talking about. A lot of riders have come out and voiced their opinion against this ban, but there equally have been a few riders who voiced their opinion for supporting this. So anyways, Ewan, what do you make of this whole issue?
Well, the news broke alongside a lot more measures to increase safety in the world of cycling. This is following in 2020 that was marred by big crashes, most notably that of Fabio Jakobsen. Nevertheless, this comes at a time where I don't think many riders are really welcoming it. It's done with the intent of lessening the impact of people at home who will be watching the sport. Seeing these guys do Supertucks, we see countless videos of Sagan online and Chris Froome doing the Supertuck down descents. They're hitting about 80 kilometers an hour. They're not completely in control of their bike. They are professionals, but there is still that risk with them. But for people watching at home who want to mirror the likes of Chris Froome and Peter Sagan, there's a massive risk when they head out to the local hill and decide to go into the Supertuck. They take their life into their own hands. They could hit a pothole. That will hurt, first of all, but you could come down in a crash and so forth. So I understand why they are doing this. I also believe it's now being switched on Zwift as well. So Zwift now will have to implement rules so the characters don't even Supertuck. So then the gamers don't go outside and start doing it on the local hills. It's quite a nanny state decision. I don't think the UCI really should enforce this. I don't understand how they're going to, unless they do it purely based off the broadcast. They see someone do it at the front and they get a fine there and then. But this doesn't come into place until April, so I'm sure we'll be seeing some people Supertucking at the upcoming Paris-Nice and Tirreno Adriatico.
I mean, one of the riders whose opinion in 2018 basically sums up the argument for banning it was Dan Martin. He said, "Dear UCI Cycling, how about we think about banning this new descending technique of sitting on the top tube? Pro riders might have the skills, but many kids at home will endanger themselves attempting to imitate what they see on TV." And yeah, that's essentially what you said as well. But there have been already a number of pro cyclists voicing their opinion against the ban. Well, Tom Pidcock wasn't pleased about this, and Mikhail Kwiatkowski, what did he say in particular?
Well, Michal Kwiatkowski was involved in a crash at the Etoile de Bessèges, which is going on right now. And he pretty much uses that crash to highlight the fact that the UCI need to do more in terms of safety that isn't necessarily Supertucking. And Michal Kwiatkowski even went on to mention other sort of very particular rules, such as the sock length ban in a tweet following that video. So he is one of the big patrons in the peloton, and seeing him come out against this ban is quite a big move.
I mean, I'm kind of on the fence on this. I completely understand why the UCI are doing it. I do, however, think there are other issues that the UCI should be tackling, such as just like the time trial bar lengths haven't been sorted, the fact that a lot of the parcours, their finishes for sprints are particularly dangerous. But again, we're falling into the whataboutism trap, which is always sign of a very bad argument when you can't argue the point at hand. Of course, I completely agree with what Dan Martin said. You don't want 14-year-old kids at home trying to imitate this in live traffic, whereas the roads that the pros ride on are, of course, closed roads.
Yeah, and if you have both lanes of a road in the Supertuck, yes, it'll help you. It's like trying to ride an F1 car down some country roads. It's a lot easier when the road's closed. And I must say, I was one of those 14-year-olds. And I must admit, I was one of these 14-year-olds that Dan Martin talks about. I did try to do the Supertuck on my local rides. It was scary. I wouldn't recommend it. And I therefore understand the rationale behind this decision.
Okay, one thing that is kind of why are everyone doing the Supertuck? The reason and all these people are doing the Supertuck probably stems back to, well, we've seen Marco Pantani with his amazing descending techniques, but the reason why we know that the Supertuck is the most effective after a study that involved a lot of wind tunnel testing and also CFD simulations, which are basically, they modeled the aerodynamics of each position, and they found that the Supertuck position was actually 17% quicker than if you didn't do anything down a descent. And this all stemmed from the 2016 Tour de France on stage 8, when we saw a very peculiar style from Chris Froome, and he ended up winning that stage, which was finishing down the Perisord. Yeah, and that's essentially where all this super tucking stems from. But this could really change cycling in terms of descending. Like we've seen, as you mentioned, Peter Sagan doing it. Matej Moritic loves this position. We've even seen super tucking on time trial bikes as well, which I think is even more dangerous than just doing the super tuck alone, because it's so rigid.
I'm sure riders will still do it. It's natural instinct. You see a lot of people go down the hills and they'll just go down into the position. I think people will still do it, and I think this will be a poorly enforced piece of UCI legislation. It's not confirmed yet. I think it has to be ratified by the UCI before it's put in place. But good luck to them. Have fun trying to enforce this.
That's it for this video. Make sure to drop your opinion on this, well, controversial matter in cycling down in the comments down below. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.